Are preference and discrimination two very different words? During a regular conversation, they are sometimes used interchangeably, like Europe prefers white migrants from Ukraine, or Europe discriminates against black or brown-skinned migrants from Ukraine. But when you put these two words in the context of a workspace or in reference to a job sector, then they cannot be more different. And I'm saying this because of a certain development in the United States. You see, TCS, or Tata Consultancy Services, has been sued for discrimination. A white former worker has accused TCS of discriminating against non-South Asian and non-Indian candidates. The complainant's name is Sean Katz. He claims to have worked for TCS for 9 years before he was let go. Katz has now filed a lawsuit in New Jersey where he says that TCS discriminates against whites. Discriminates against whites or prefers people with a certain skill set? Question. Katz says TCS has an inventory of so-called visa-ready workers and it brings South Asian and Indian workers to the US. Why is that? Are H-1B workers cheaper? No, they are not. If anything, H-1B holders are among the highest paid workers. So how would TCS benefit from hiring them? Well, in terms of skills, you see, Indians are a reliable source of talent for information technology, software development, or jobs requiring advanced tech skills. And TCS is an IT company. Many a times it requires skills that Indians and South Asians have or master. Can you take a company to court for looking for a perfect match in its employees? I don't think so. You must have come across job postings that say a degree in engineering is the minimum requirement, but those with IT experience will be preferred. That happens in almost every job sector. Say I'm hiring for a role in the newsroom tomorrow. I will prefer people with journalism background, people who come with certain skill sets, be it news reading or editing. TCS reportedly has some 40,000 employees in the US and most of them are IT workers. So it makes sense that vacancies are often filled by Indians or South Asians because in IT, they are the best talent in the business. And like I was saying, it appears to be more of a case of preference and not discrimination. Now, the disgruntled worker says TCS is biased when it comes to promotions as well. In his lawsuit, Katz says he qualified for promotion for many years, but he was never promoted. Now, that's something only the employer will be able to explain. Did TCS not think Katz had the soft skills for the next level, or was Katz overselling his case? What really happened? We don't know. What we can tell you, though, is that this US worker says in TCS, Americans are also placed on the bench between assignments more frequently. What exactly is benching? It happens when you have finished a project and you are yet to take on the next one, and the time in between is called being benched. You get your regular salary and your employee benefits without much work in return, sometimes no work at all. Katz's lawsuit says Americans remain benched for longer periods, and which puts them at the risk of languishing on the bench and subsequently being fired. See, one thing we must note at this point is that all of these are just one person's claim. We don't know how much of it is true or how much of it should be taken with a pinch of salt. But here's the thing about benching. Companies like TCS cannot bench an Indian who is on a visa or a South Asian on visa, courtesy the legal issues. You see, there are times when companies bench workers without pay. This happens especially when the business is slow, like during the pandemic. So workers are furloughed. They remain a part of the company, but without pay. Now, the legal issue here is that companies cannot bench an H-1B employee. The American labor law expects employers to pay the stipulated wage to a worker who is on visa, even for their unproductive time. And this ends up becoming expensive for companies like TCS or subjects them to legit lawsuits. Take, for example, the 2013 case of Dibon Solution. The Indian-American company was indicted for paying H-1B workers only when there was work. Now, TCS is a reputable private company, so it makes sense for it to abide by the American laws and human resource practices. Here's one thing I want to put on record. In no way are we trying to defend TCS or present a case on its behalf or take sides. It's just that we are baffled by the absurdity of the claim. How can a company operating on a foreign land discriminate against the land's own citizens/locals and be biased towards minorities? If true, the case stands to question TCS's credentials. And it won't be the first. In 2015 too, TCS was slapped with a lawsuit. Back then too, the company was accused of discriminating against non-South Asian workers. A white worker had accused TCS of having a substantial anti-American sentiment. TCS is not alone. Other Indian IT firms like Infosys, HCL Tech, Wipro have also faced similar lawsuits. But tell me one thing, do you think a country with substantial anti-American sentiment can exist and operate in America? TCS has survived Donald Trump's America, also his order of buy American and hire American. Also think about it, which company will hire a candidate who needs an H-1B wait months for his or her arrival, gamble on the chance of her getting the visa, spend on the legal costs, the paperwork, if you have talent back at home? Would it not be better to hire the local workers? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.